Hi everybody, so welcome to this short summer practice, and this is just an all abilities practice suitable for everybody, and I'll be giving you a few modifications, so you should be able to enjoy this practice no matter what level of physical ability you've got, and hopefully you're enjoying your summer. Sometimes summer can be a wonderful time to enjoy the good weather and time with family, getting away from the usual routine, but also of course, it's a time when things don't always work out as planned. So if you're having a challenging summer, hopefully this will be a good practice to just come back to yourself. So yoga is this practice of coming back to our inner stillness, coming back to ourselves, even when things around us might not be exactly as we want them to be, or even when things around us are great and exciting. So coming to a comfortable seated position, so that could be sitting cross-legged or it could be kneeling, sitting on a chair. It's really entirely up to you, whatever feels comfortable. And we'll just open our practice by settling, just taking a few breaths. And just notice the quality of your breath. Does it feel slow and calm? Or do you feel perhaps some gripping or some tension around the breath? Where do you best feel the breath? Just noticing how your breath is today. Not judging ourselves, we try not to judge ourselves in yoga, but just to be curious and to explore mindfully what's going on in the body. So let's inhale together, and you're welcome to chant with me either internally or outwardly. Om. 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 So starting to bring some movement into the body, we're just going to scrunch the shoulders bit forward, give the shoulders a good squeeze, and then exhaling to send out the breath. And releasing the shoulders. So we'll do that a couple more times, inhaling. Then bring the hands to the shoulders. We're just going to draw some big circles with the elbows. And I like to exhale as I'm bringing the elbows towards each other, stretching in between the shoulder blades. And inhale as we open up the chest. So just coordinating your breath with the movement. Slowing down the breath. And of course, slowing down the movements as well. The more you slow down, the more you notice. So let's go back the other way. And then just releasing the hands by your sides. Just going to take a really simple breath practice. So we're going to inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead, and you might like to visualize gathering in all your support and pressing down, like you're pressing down on a coffee press. So a big inhale, inhaling fully, deeply into the belly, feeling the belly expand. Pressing down into the earth, and perhaps feeling the belly drawing back towards the spine. So we'll do that a few more times. Go nice and slowly at your own pace. And then making this your last breath before you come back to normal breathing. And I'm just going to take a few stretches for the spine. So bringing the arms out to parallel. I'm just going to coordinate breath movement as if we've got airplane arms and we're kind of leaning to one side and the other. So exhaling, bring the right hand to the mat and then drawing the left arm right alongside the earth and stretching the whole side of the body. Inhaling, back to our starting position and then exhaling, moving over to the left. It's just working with your breath. So your breath might be a little bit faster or slower than mine. That's fine. Feeling the stretch in the sides of the body. Working us our last stretch. So when you've done an equal number on both sides, finishing on the left, just coming back to your starting position and releasing the hands. And we're going to take a really simple twist. So inhaling, lifting up into the crown of the head, sitting up really nice and tall. And then exhaling, we're just gently twisting over to the right. So taking the left hand to the right knee, looking over the right shoulder, just releasing into the twist. So we don't need to strain or force, just seeing what we can let go of to release. On your next inhalation, coming back to center. And then exhaling, this time twisting to the left. So you might like to imagine all of your internal organs twisting and moving in relation to each other. Perhaps the heart and the lungs, the intestines, the stomach, all of these internal organs building your twist. And then the spine and the rib cage being the scaffolding around the twist. And of course your skin and your arms and your legs just being the scaffolding. And then just releasing, coming back to center. And then we're just going to take some simple cat-cow stretches from this position. So as we exhale, we're going to curl the spine, looking down, tucking the tailbone slightly. As we inhale, we're going to lift the chest and stretch through the front of the body, lifting the face, keeping some length in the back of the neck. So again, just working with your breath, exhaling to curl, contracting the front of the body. And inhaling, stretching through the front of the body, lifting the chest and looking up. We're trying to keep some length in the neck, so we don't want to throw the head back. And then just returning to a neutral position here. So from here, we're just going to come to lying on our backs. We're going to lie with the knees bent and the feet flat on the floor. Just placing the hands on the belly, just allowing the body to settle. And just feeling the breath in the belly. So as we inhale, we can feel the belly expanding. As we exhale, just feel the belly drawing back towards the spine. Just settling with your breath. And then from here, we're going to just hug the right knee to the chest. If you feel that you would like to increase the stretch, you can straighten out the left leg. But if you've got any low back issues or you just would like a little bit more support, keeping the left leg bent. And from here, we're working with the breath. So as we inhale, the belly expands and it slightly pushes the right knee away from the body. And then as we exhale, we create a little bit of space around the belly so we can squeeze the right knee in. So the breath leads the movements. We inhale, belly expands, knee moves away. We exhale, belly draws back, and we create the space to hug the knee in a little bit. So it's a fairly small movement, beneficial for the digestive system. And then from here, we're going to straighten up the right leg. Now, if your hamstring's a bit tight, your leg might be here. That's absolutely fine. Or you might have a little bend in the knee, and that's also fine. But what we want to feel is a stretch through the back of the leg. So you should feel a nice stretch through the calves, back of the knees, the back of the thigh, and all the way down to the glutes, the bottom. But the low back should be comfortable. So with your hands, you can take your hands around your thigh. You could take your hands to your calf. If you've got a belt, you could take a belt around your foot. If you're more flexible, you might be able to take hold of the big toes. So wherever you're holding, just breathing into the stretch, trying to direct the breath to wherever you feel the most intense sensations. If you're not really feeling much in the back of the calf, think about flexing the foot a bit more to increase the stretch around the back of the ankle, back of the calf. If you're not really feeling it in the back of the legs, make sure you straighten up the leg a little bit more and start to draw the leg towards you. And again, this left leg could be bent for more support, or it could be straight for a slightly stronger challenge. And then if you have got your left leg straight, just bending the left leg and then crossing the right leg, the right ankle over the left leg, keeping the right foot flexed. So in fact, both feet are flexed, and that prevents the knee from twisting. And then from here, we've got the option to keep the left foot flat on the floor and just use the right hand to push the right knee away slightly, and we can work with the breath there. Or if all of this is feeling good, we can lift the left knee off the floor and draw the unit of both legs towards the body. So maybe taking hold of the left thigh with our hands, so one hand either side of the left thigh, or even perhaps taking hold of the left shin if we're feeling really bendy. But make sure that you've got your chin tucked in, so you've got length in the back of the neck. What we don't want is for the chin to start to jut up like that. So if you feel like your chin is jutting up, maybe ease out of the stretch slightly and just use that opportunity to tuck the chin, or even put a folded blanket or a little pillow underneath your head. And then releasing the legs. And of course, we're going to do the same again on the other side. So this time we're hugging the left knee into the chest, working with the breath. So inhaling, belly expands, knee draws away. Exhaling, belly draws back to spine, knee comes into the space. And then from here, we're going to straighten up the left leg. Remember, the right knee could be bent, or we could straighten out the right leg. And then we can use our hands to perhaps take hold around the thighs, maybe around the calf, or possibly even the big toe. And we should be feeling the stretch all the way down the left leg. So keeping the left foot flexed, and then we've got a nice stretch going on all the way down the left leg. If we're not feeling the stretch, make sure you've got the knee straight, make sure the foot's flexed. Make sure the chin is tucked in. And then bending the right leg, if the right leg has been straight, we're going to cross the left ankle over the right thigh, keeping the left foot, or in fact, both feet flexed. So we've got the option to stay here. Just use the hand to press that left leg away, working with the breath. Or we could be lifting the right leg and perhaps using our hands one either side of the right thigh to draw the unit of both legs towards the body. And then releasing the legs, just hugging both knees into the body, maybe rocking a little bit from side to side. And then if it feels comfortable for you, you might want to explore rocking and rolling on the spine until we come up to a seated position. From here, we're going to come and do just one round of salutation to the moon. So some of you might know this practice, some of you might not be so familiar with it. The idea is a flowing sequence, so we want to really move with the breath. So don't worry too much about what shape you're making with your body, as long as it feels okay, it feels comfortable. We don't need to worry too much. What's more important is moving with the breath. So we're really, it's like a meditative flow. We're focusing on the breath, we're breathing deeply, and we're moving with each breath, trying to coordinate the breath and the movement. So the breath and movement take the same length of time. So we're going to start kneeling. We're just going to inhale and exhale. Inhaling, coming to a high kneeling position. And exhaling, bringing the right foot forwards. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up, and imagine you're tracing the shape of the moon. And then bringing the hands down the midline of the body. Inhaling, again, we're tracing the shape of the moon, like a full moon. And then exhaling down the midline of the body. And one more full moon. So we inhale and exhale, bringing the hands to the heart. Inhaling, bring the hands forward. And then exhaling, we just come into a twist to the right. Inhaling, back to center. And exhaling, a twist to the left. Inhaling, back to center. And exhaling, hands to the heart. Inhaling, we lift the arms. Exhaling, side step to the right. Inhaling, back to center. Exhaling, side step to the left. Inhaling, back to center. And exhaling, hands come down to the floor. And the right knee comes back, so we find ourselves in tabletop position. Inhaling, we stretch the front of the body, dropping the belly and chest, looking forwards. Exhaling, we curl the spine, tuck the tailbone and look back. Inhaling, we arch the back, dropping the belly and chest. And exhaling, we come to our downward facing dog. Inhaling, we lift the right leg. Exhaling, we lower. Inhaling, lifting the left leg. And exhaling, we lower. And then dropping the knees. We inhale as we arch the back, lift the tailbone. And then exhaling, we curl the spine and draw back into child's pose. Inhaling, just creep forward into a baby cobra. And exhaling, back into child's pose again. Inhaling, we come to kneeling. And exhale. Inhaling, high kneeling. And exhaling, the left foot comes forward this time. Inhaling, we sweep the arms up, like we're tracing the shape of a full moon. Exhaling, down the midline. Inhaling, draw the arms up. And exhaling, down the midline. One more time. Inhaling, we bring the arms forwards. Exhaling, twisting to the left. Inhaling. And exhaling, twisting to the right. Inhaling. And exhaling, hands to heart. Inhaling, we rock it. Exhaling, side step to the left. Inhaling. Exhaling, side step to the right. Inhaling. And exhaling, hands come down to the floor. We bring the left knee back. We drop the belly, arching the back. Exhaling, we curl the spine. Inhaling, we arch the back. And then tucking over the toes, we exhale to downward facing dog. Inhaling, lifting the left leg. And exhaling to lower. Inhaling, we lift the right leg. And exhaling, we lower. Inhaling, we drop the knees, arch the back and look forwards. And exhaling, we curl the spine and roll back to child's pose. Inhaling, we just creep forwards into your baby cobra, gentle back bend. And then exhaling, back to child's pose. It's just resting here in child's pose for a few breaths. Letting your child's pose be really relaxed. It's just staying in child's pose for a little bit longer and just really allowing your whole body to surrender to the earth. So just letting the weight of the body sink to the floor, making your child's pose comfortable. So if you find child's pose is a bit uncomfortable, maybe put a blanket under your ankles, or you could tuck a blanket in between your knees, just here in the crease of the knees, or you could use a block or a book or your fists to rest the forehead on. So try to make child's pose as much of a comfortable resting position as you can, and really just let go of anything that you don't need to hold on to in this position. See if you can let go of any gripping or any tension that's just not needed at this point. So from child's pose, we're going to find our way to standing. So coming to standing carefully. So we're just going to come into a squatting position. Just pause here to stretch out the backs of the ankles. Just rest on the fingertips and lift the chest. And then trying to use the strength of our legs and our tummies to rise up to standing. So just bringing the hands to a prayer position. And just see with a bit of balance, can we come up to standing? If it doesn't work, don't worry, it's just something to work towards. So here we can find ourselves in Tadasana, standing pose. It's just really finding your best standing mountain. So really taking a moment to root the feet down, making sure that the weight is distributed equally across the feet. And see if you can imagine a line up your midline. So it's like a line drawing up the inner legs, up through the center of the body, up to the crown of the head. And it's like somebody lifting up the crown of your head by like a golden thread. So just lifting up through the center of the body. But at the same time, the shoulders are relaxed, the arms are relaxed, the buttocks are relaxed. So we're not holding on to tension that we don't need to hold on to. So from here, we're just going to take one round of a sun salutation. So it's summer, and maybe a sun salutation might encourage the sun to come out a little bit. So obviously we don't want too much sun, but a little bit of sun would be nice. So just follow along best you can with the sun salutation. If it feels too much, feel absolutely free to just rest this one out. So we'll come to the tops of our mats. There are several different variations of sun salutation, so this might not be the version that you're familiar with. So just follow along as best you can. So inhaling, we're going to bring the hands to a prayer position. And we'll just take a couple of breaths. Exhaling. And then inhaling, we lift the arms up. Reach out and reach into the front of the body. Maybe even lifting the chest to come to a slight back bend if that feels right for you today. Or just remaining straight. And then exhaling, folding forwards, bending the knees as much as you need to bring the hands to the floor and letting the head be heavy. And then coming onto the fingertips, inhaling, we're going to reach the right leg back and we're coming to a low lunge position, lifting the chest, looking forwards. And then with the body full of breath, we're going to step the left foot back to plank and we're going to pause there, holding the breath. And then dropping the knees to the floor, we're going to exhale as we lower the chest down to the floor, keeping the hips high if that works for you. Lowering the hips, we're going to inhale to cobra, to our back bend. And then exhale, coming back to downward facing dog. Inhale, bringing the right foot forwards. So we come to a low lunge. Exhale, bring the left foot forwards to join it. So we're in a forward fold. Bending the knees, lowering the hips. We're going to inhale to sweep up to standing, reaching up, lifting the chest. And then exhaling, hands back down by our sides. So we'll do that one more time on the other side. So inhaling, and then exhaling the hands to prayer position. Inhaling, reaching up, finding length through the front of the body. Exhaling, folding forwards, bending the knees as much as you need to. Inhaling, you take the left foot back this time to the low lunge position, lifting the chest. Holding the breath. We're going to pause in plank. Remember, your knees could be on the floor in plank if necessary. And then all bringing our knees to the floor. We're going to exhale, lowering the chest down to the floor. Inhaling into our back bend. And exhaling, coming to downward facing dog. Remember, we can come through tabletop. A little bit more support. Inhaling, left foot forwards. And then tucking over the back toes, just taking the weight back slightly to give yourself a little bit of momentum. We're going to bring that right foot forwards. And we find ourselves exhaling in a forward fold. Inhaling, lengthening through the front of the body. And exhaling, hands by our side. If you're feeling really energetic at this point, you might want to pause the recording, do a few more sun salutations. So I quite like to do 5 sun salutations in a row. That kind of really builds a bit of heat and energy in the body. That's entirely up to you. If you don't really feel like doing that today, no problem. So let's come to a standing forward fold. So we're just going to bring the hands to the hips, going to lift the chest, find some length through the front of the body, and then exhale, folding forwards with a nice flat back, bending the knees as much as you need to. And we're just going to take hold of the elbows, let the head be heavy. And then bending the knees, just placing your hands on your thighs, giving yourself a little bit of support as you come back up to standing. So from here, we're going to come back down to the floor. So finding your way to the floor in whatever way suits you. You might like to come through a sun salutation, or you might like to take the feet quite wide apart. And let's come, I've got the option to come down to the floor through Malasana, so squatting position. So if you find, like me, that your ankles are quite tight at the back, you might want to use a folded blanket or a yoga block or a low book to just put underneath your heels. And then from here, we can use the elbows to open up the legs, lift the chest, and take a few breaths. If Malasana doesn't work for you, it's not right for everybody, you could explore goddess pose instead. So that's a really nice alternative. Just making sure that the knees track over the toes. So you should be able to see your knees just going over your second toes. We don't want the knees coming in like so. So we've got a couple of alternatives there. Or we could be coming through a sun salutation. So whichever way you've come to the floor, let's find our way to supine position. And we're just going to close our practice. Some really nice, easy stretches. So bringing the hands to the knees, just making some big circles with the knees. So the knees are going in opposite directions. And then circling back the other way. And then bringing the feet flat to the floor, taking the feet quite wide. We're just going to windscreen wiper the legs over in each direction. So exhaling, letting the knees drop over to the left. And then fully exhaling, hugging in the tummy, using the tummy muscles to lift the knees back up to center. And then exhaling, knees over to the right. Exhaling fully. Inhaling the knees back to center. Just doing that a couple more times in each direction. And then bringing the knees back to center. And then this time, hugging the knees into the chest. We're going to take the arms out into a T shape. We're just going to let the knees drop over to the left-hand side. You might like to take your left hand onto your right knee to just place a little bit of weight on that right knee. If your head's comfortable, you could look towards the right, or if that's not so comfortable, look up to the ceiling. If your knees feel a bit uncomfortable, you could put a cushion or a bolster underneath one knee or in between the two knees, just to give yourself a little bit of extra support. So this again should be quite a comfortable position to hold for, you could hold this for up to 5 minutes. We're not going to do that today, but it should feel really nice and comfortable. And exhaling, you can use your elbow for a little bit of support, using the tummy muscles to bring the knees back to center, then letting the knees drop over to the right hand side. And again, taking the right hand to rest on top of the left knee. If it's comfortable for your neck, you could look along the left fingertips. Otherwise, just looking up to the ceiling. Again, using any props that will help you in this position. And then pressing down into your right elbow, bringing the knees back to center, and then letting the feet fall to the floor. So from here, I'm going to suggest that you finish with something like legs up the wall. So if you've got a little bit of wall space near you, you can do this at the wall. I'm going to demonstrate this with a chair because that's what I've got. So I'm just going to put the chair here. But a wall would be better, would be more stable. So to get into this position, we need to just jiggle our hips as close to the wall or your chair as possible. You're going to be kind of side lying. There's no graceful way to get into this. If you've got your sort of side lying position, you can then take your legs up the wall or up the back of the chair. And then we're just going to rest here. So we're in a kind of upside down L shape. If you want to, you could put a cushion or some folded blankets under your hips, just elevate the hips slightly. That would make it more of an inversion. If this feels too uncomfortable in the backs of the legs, you could take the hips further away from the wall or just bend the legs slightly. So this is a kind of really simple inversion, and we've got all the benefits here of having the body inverted. It's really good for the circulation. Just check where your head is. So if you feel like your chin is jutting up, see if you can just lengthen the back of the neck by tucking the chin in slightly. It might be that you need a folded blanket or a small pillow under your head to just help you tuck the chin. So once you've kind of got comfortable in this position, just really tuning into the breath. Might even like to bring the hands to the belly. Just have that feeling of breathing into the belly. As you inhale, the belly expands like a big balloon. As you exhale, the belly just draws back. Letting the belly be soft, releasing any gripping. And you might like to just pause the video and stay in this position for 5 minutes, even 10 or 15 minutes. It might be really refreshing. Just really being with your breath. Just letting the breath be slow and deep. And then when you're ready to come out of this position, again, there's no really graceful way to come out of it, but just bending the knees, rolling over to one side, checking in that everything feels okay, and then just moving yourself away from the wall. We're just going to come to a final relaxation. Again, I'm going to just take you through a fairly short relaxation since this is a short practice, but you might like to pause the video and stay for longer. Really, I would stay for as long as you've got time for. So come into lying on your back. We'll just squeeze and release each part of the body in turn. So lifting up the right leg, squeezing all the muscles of the right leg, and then letting it drop to the floor. Squeezing all the muscles of the left leg as we lift it up, flexing the foot and letting that left leg just drop to the floor. Squeezing the bottom, maybe lifting the hips slightly, squeezing the pelvic floor and letting the hips release. Hugging in the tummy and letting the belly be soft. Taking a big breath in to stretch out the rib cage. Sighing it out. Lifting up the right arm, making a fist, squeezing all the muscles of the right arm, and then letting it drop. And the same with the left arm, so making a fist, squeezing all the muscles of the left arm, and then letting that drop to the floor. Scrunching the shoulders up the ears, and then just releasing the shoulders. And then scrunching up your face, so making the most horrible face you can, pressing the lips together, scrunching up the eyes, wrinkling the nose, wrinkling the forehead, really scrunching the face. And then releasing the face. And then opening your mouth really wide, sticking out your tongue, looking behind you and doing a lion's roar. And then letting the whole face relax. So just checking in with yourself and just see how you feel, making any little adjustments that you need to be comfortable for your relaxation. Lying on your back just isn't comfortable for you for some reason, then feel free to relax in a different position. Sometimes if you've got low back pain, it might be helpful to bend the knees or perhaps to place a cushion under the knees so that they're just slightly bent. And sometimes if it just feels too vulnerable or if it just doesn't suit you, you could also lie on your side or lie on your tummy. Just letting the whole body relax now, just noticing the points of contact that the body makes with the floor. Maybe noticing how the backs of the feet touch the floor. Noticing any sensations in the legs. Just letting the legs be supported by the floor. Noticing the weight of the hips. We give up the hips to gravity. Imagine that your spine is made out of candle wax and that you're lying on a nice warm surface. And the candle wax of your spine is just starting to soften a little bit. So the whole spine can just ease and soften. Noticing the parts of the spine that make contact with you. Probably the tailbone and between the shoulders. Letting your belly soften. Letting the rib cage and the shoulders soften. Just noticing how the shoulders make contact with the floor. And bringing your attention into the hands, noticing any tension around the thumb. Can you let go of that? Letting the fingers, the palms and the backs of the hands be soft. Feeling how the arms are supported. Noticing how the arms make contact with the floor. Noticing how the weight of the head is also supported by the floor. Letting your face soften. Letting the eyes be heavy. Noticing if you could let go of anything around the jaw, the teeth, cheeks, nose, ears, eyes, forehead, crown of the head. Just breathing in slowly with no particular effort. Enjoying each chapter of the breath. The inhalation, any small pause, the exhalation, and then the pause before the next breath arises. Maybe filled with loving kindness, maybe happy, maybe peaceful and at ease, maybe well. Starting to bring some movement back to the body, so maybe starting with the fingers, the toes, maybe starting to move the arms and legs, just noticing what kind of movement your body might want at this moment. So sometimes it feels really good to stretch. Other times you might want to just hug the knees to the chest and find movement in whatever way your body seems to need at the moment. And then we'll just find our way to lying on one side. And then pressing down into the floor with the top hand. Letting the head be relaxed as we come back to a seated position. So you might like to bring the hands into Chin Mudra, which means we bring the index finger and the thumb together. And we can just rest our mudra, our hand gesture, on the knees. Just bring your awareness into your hands. Just notice any sensations you feel around the hands. Notice the contact that your thumb and forefinger make. And we'll close the class as we started with 3 Oms. So you're obviously welcome to join in with me or just to chant internally. Om. 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 Just bring the hands to the earth in front of you, just grounding yourself, connecting to the earth, and then reaching out into the space around you, reaching up to the sky with a stretch. Bring the hands to the heart. And thank you for practicing with me today. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you in September for some live yoga classes. So enjoy your summer, and I hope this practice has been useful for you.